What if I told you that by this time next year, you could be $100,000 richer? Not from luck or from guesswork, but by following a proven system that dozens of other life insurance agents have used. That's why in this video, I'm gonna be breaking down the 5 steps that you need to follow in order to make $100,000 per year or more as a life insurance agent in 2025. But here's the thing, 95% of agents do this completely incorrectly, and it's why they don't make 100K per year. So grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, and start taking notes, because I'm going to be breaking down the 5 steps that you need to get to 100K per year or more in income. Now, this is the exact process and formula that we use to scale our life insurance agency from 0 to 100K per month in just 85 days, and is the exact same process that we've taught to dozens of other agents to help them sell $20,000, $30,000, or even $40,000 per month. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. Starting with step number 1. Now, to be honest with you guys, this is a step that I would say about 95% of agents kind of just like jump into willy-nilly, and they don't actually take this seriously. And the first step is actually picking a product, okay? So what happens is most people kind of just like get into the business. I'll tell you guys what happened with me. Is I got recruited into the business to sell final expense and Medicare, right? Now, I just went with whatever the product was that the person who recruited me into the business was telling me to sell. Now, that can be a good strategy, but ultimately, if you're trying to build a long-term career out of being a life insurance agent, and ultimately you want to make 6 figures and beyond, and like really do this intentionally, you want to give it some thought in terms of what product that you're going to pick, right? That doesn't mean spend a year trying to decide what product, but it does mean kind of giving it some thought, looking at the pros and cons of each of the different products in each of the different markets before just like jumping in, right? So in terms of picking a product, obviously for the purposes of this video, we're just going to be talking about life insurance. You could technically go and sell P&C or health insurance or whatever, but for this video, we're just going to be talking about life insurance, right? So if we establish that we want to sell life insurance, there are like 3 main products that you can kind of do here, right? We have whole life. My pen will work here properly. There we go. Whole life. We have like term. Come on, there we go. Term. And we have universal life. Okay. So with whole life, most people that get in, they're probably going to be selling like final expense. I might just have to write with my finger. There we go. Most people are going to sell final expense, but then there's also like, people will also use like whole life for different purposes if they're doing like infinite banking or something like that. Not to get too in the weeds on this, but there are a couple different ways that you can kind of take that. With term, usually term is pretty cut and dry for the most part. It's basically just like you're going to be selling term insurance to people who usually are younger or trying to like protect their family, right? Now, universal life, this is where you're talking about things like, IULs typically, right? Now, the product, right, does matter, but the bigger thing that matters is what I'm going to talk about, which is step number 2, which is actually picking a market, right? So these different products, you want to kind of understand them and figure out what you want to sell, but ultimately, based off of what market you pick, you're probably going to be selling like a combination of a couple different products, right? But what I will say is like when it comes to picking a product and picking a market, like, so there's a story from a guy, you guys may know who he is. His name is Warren Buffett. And basically he talks about how when he first got started in business, it was, he went to college with a guy who he said was like similar intelligence, similar work ethic, similar drive, all these different things. Basically like a carbon copy of Warren Buffett, right? And basically they each pursued 2 different paths, right? So Warren Buffett went down this path and this other guy went down this other path. Now, you guys know who Warren Buffett is. I don't even know the name of this other guy. And the biggest difference between the 2 of them is Warren Buffett picked to go into investing and picked, stocks and doing all these different things. And the other guy went into the steel business. So this other guy went into the steel business, and Warren Buffett went into stocks and investing, right? So ultimately, what's the moral of the story? Why am I telling you guys this? Well, when you're picking a product and you're picking a market, the amount, like, you can make anything work, but ultimately the boat that you're rowing in oftentimes is more important than how hard you row, right? That doesn't mean you can get away with not working hard. That doesn't mean that, if you pick a bad market, you can't make six figures, you can't be successful. But like, when it comes down to it, you guys should be very intentional about this. Talk to people in the industry, figure out what's going to be a good fit for you. And don't just like jump into a market because your cousin or your best friend recruited you into it, which is what I did. And I think ultimately that was a mistake. So picking your market, picking the right boat to row in is critical, because again, if I'm in one river that's like going really, really fast and all of these like market forces are aiding that and helping me make more money, versus I pick another market that's going to be harder, I can work hard in both markets, but if the river is already flowing and this other river is stagnant, even if I'm rowing the same pace, I'm going to go farther in the river that is flowing, right? Hopefully that the image made sense. Maybe my editor will throw up some visuals to make that a little bit easier to understand. So this kind of brings me to 2, which is picking a market, okay? Now, again, guys, the reason that I'm starting with these 2 things is because most people completely overlook them. But it's one of the most high leverage things you can do, is picking the right market and picking the right product to sell. So whenever it comes to picking a market, there's a few markets that people will go into, right? You have like the senior market. A lot of times people will sell like whole life as infinite banking. So this is more of like a, like a biz owner market. You have like your IUL annuity kind of stuff, which is more like the save for retirement market. I'm just going to write retirement. Savings. And then you also have term, which is like, younger people, right? Now, some of these obviously overlap, right? Don't get me wrong, but this is kind of like the main markets. Within these markets, you're also going to have niches, right? So if you've seen any of the other videos on our channel talking about the niche method, that's essentially what this is you're niching down. You're picking a specific subset of that market to like dial in and really go after. So for example, a niche could be nurses. So if I say, hey, I'm going to go sell life insurance to nurses, I could sell nurses, term, IUL, whole life, right? There's different products that these people are going to want. But by picking that market, I'm like kind of I'm basically becoming a specialist for one particular type of person, right? So some tips when it comes to picking a market. The quality of your customer is going to determine the quality of your business, right? So if you are talking to, lower income people that are having trouble paying their bills and you're trying to sell them a bill that they have to pay every single month, well, you're probably going to struggle with some chargebacks. You're going to have, different issues that kind of pop up. Whereas if you go like super advanced markets and you're only selling to like very, very rich people, well, your sales cycle is going to be really, really long. So there's pros and cons to each, but ultimately you need to consciously think about what type of problems do you want to have? What type of market do you want to serve? Okay. So once you have picked your market, the next thing you need to look at is finding leads. Okay. Now this, again, is another thing that so many people kind of just willy-nilly jump into. They don't think about, and they just buy the first lead source that their IMO recommends. I do not recommend doing that. What I've found with leads is ultimately the best way to get quality leads is just to basically like wholesale generate them. Okay. So wholesale leads. Now this doesn't mean like buying leads in bulk. When I say wholesale, I basically mean like going directly to the source. Which is Facebook, right? Facebook is by far the best way to generate leads, at least in 2025. If this changes 5 years down the road, I'll be the first person to let you know. But for now, it's still Facebook. So the nice thing about Facebook is there are 3 billion, with a B, actually over 3 billion, monthly active users on Facebook. So like basically the entire world is on Facebook, right? A third of the world, but also a third of the world lives in, majority of the world lives in like China and India. They don't even have Facebook in China. So a massive portion of the population is on Facebook, most of the U.S., right? Which is who we're selling to. So most people are on Facebook, and it's also a way to generate low cost, consistent, quality leads. Okay, low cost, consistent, quality leads. So what I recommend doing is basically, like if I was first getting into the business, I would partner with a marketing company or something to generate leads for me on Facebook. So I would just pay like a monthly cost to the marketing company to like run all my ads. And then I would get the leads from Facebook at wholesale prices. So instead of going and buying leads from a vendor, which the problem is you're going to deal with markups, there's not any transparency in terms of what the ads are saying. They can resell them. They're not exclusive. If you have Facebook going directly into your CRM, right? So you have leads going directly into your CRM. There's no middleman that can like do anything crazy here. Versus if you have a lead vendor and then they're delivering them to your CRM, right? They can also add a markup, and they can be selling these to other people too on the side. And you would have no idea that they're doing that. So that's kind of my problem with buying leads. So I recommend basically having somebody generate leads for you that's in your market and generate leads specific to like the product that you're selling, right? That's ultimately my recommendation with finding leads. If you want help with that, we can help. Link down below in the description if you want to learn more about what we do. But we basically help people generate leads and kind of help them with that whole process. So once you found leads, the fourth step to getting to $100,000 per year in income, right? And when I say $100,000 a year, side note, I mean take home, deposit in your bank account, not AP, right? The fourth step is going to be a sales process, okay? So with a sales process, a lot of people, there's a lot of agents that I talk to who, you know, maybe they pick a good market, they're starting to get consistent quality leads, but they just don't know how to sell to save their life, right? And the best way to like become good at selling quick is to copy a process that's already working, right? So you want to get a process that's already proven, right? So the most common way that you're going to see this is like a sales script, okay? So you need to be following a script that's proven, okay? This is absolutely critical. A lot of people will kind of go in, and this is like, I'm going to kind of draw out what their sales process look like. So they go in, and then they start talking to the customer, and then they go off here, and then they go here, and then they go here, and then they go here, and then here, and then here, and then maybe they get here to closing. You guys may be familiar with a guy named Jordan Belfort. A sale is a straight line, so it needs to follow the same process every single time. Because the only way you're going to get good at selling is if you're doing the same thing over and over. So you get that practice, you get the rhythms, and you get the reps. So your sales process should be a straight line from point A to point B, right? B is obviously closing the deal. Now, this doesn't mean sometime your prospect is going to take you off script, but if you have a script that you can follow, you can kind of return to that baseline and continue to progress them along the sale. So where do you find a good script? Well, if you, we have a really solid final expense script that's on our YouTube channel. We're also working on some other scripts for different products as well that will be released in the future. But you can get one from like your agency or your upline, or you can find like a solid script. Just make sure like whatever sales process you're following, you can see that it's proven and you're copying it from someone who's already successful. That's the biggest thing. And make sure that like whenever you go into it, don't let your ego get the best of you where like, oh, I know how to sell. I don't need a script. Like just follow a script, master a process that's proven, because you want your sales to be a repeatable framework you can just rip on every single call, okay? And that is step number 4, which is to have a consistent sales process. Now, the last step is number 5, and this, you guys are not going to like this one, to be honest with you, is basically just action plus time, okay? So what do I mean by that? Well, basically, whenever you get into this business, you know, you have to do all these different things to kind of like prepare. You have to pick your product, you got to pick your market, you got to find leads, you got to find a sales process, and then guess what happens? Now you got to take action, and you got to use the system that you just kind of like assembled together. So here's kind of like what it should look like. You need to do extremely high volume of activity, because when you're first getting into the business, there are 2 learning curves that you have to master, okay? There's 2 learning curves. Number 1 is the insurance learning curve, and number 2 is the sales learning curve. Now, some people, if you already have some sales experience, you could fall a little bit higher on the sales learning curve, right? Like maybe you're right here. Ultimately, you have to progress both learning curves to get to like consistently making money and, 6 figures plus. So you might be somewhere on the sales learning curve, but you're going to come into the business probably not knowing anything about insurance. So why am I telling you this? Well, it's because in order for you to progress these learning curves and get to a point where you're making a really, really solid income, I mean, we're talking about with this business, you can make a doctor, heart surgeon salary within like your first 3 years in the business, which is just insane. But the only way that you're going to do that is by progressing across these learning curves. And the way that you do that is by putting in massive activity, taking action, getting feedback, and then adjusting. So I'm going to kind of show you guys what that looks like. So we have inputs, which are like going to be your presentations, your dials, your appointments. You need to do a lot of your inputs, right? So if you're making outbound dials, you need to make a lot of damn phone calls. If you're doing appointments, you need to sit a lot of appointments, okay? And then basically those inputs are going to result in what's called outputs, right? So this is just going to be whatever result you get. So if I go and I make 300 dials, let's say everyone that I talk to just hangs up on me because my intro sucks. Cool. Well, that was an output. That was a result that I got. Now I can take this result. This pen is acting funny again. I can take this result and now I've gotten feedback. So I can take call recordings, recordings of my sales presentations, and I can take these to a mentor and get feedback, okay? And then basically what you're going to do is you take that feedback and then you adjust. You adjust your inputs. So hopefully you guys are following along with us. Let's say I go out and I set 10 appointments. If I sell no appointments, I don't close any deals, I'm going to take those recordings of my sales, take them to a coach or mentor or someone that's kind of like showing me the ropes. I'm going to show them my call recordings. They're going to give me feedback, and then I'm going to implement the feedback. Like, this sounds so simple, but most people don't do this. And then the next time I go and do more appointments, I'm going to do it with their feedback implemented. Then I probably will get slightly better output, slightly better results. And then I'll repeat the process over and over. You guys can see this is a loop. It's a circle. It's a cycle that you repeat until your skill level progresses and you've overcome those 2 learning curves that we were just talking about. That is essentially the entire process. Once you have the first 4 things that we talked about in place, is just going out, implementing, taking action, getting feedback, and then implementing that feedback to continue to get better. And it's just a vicious cycle that works in your favor because you just get better and better. But the only way that you get better and get better fast is you just have to work until your fingers are like exposed to the bone to put in as many inputs as possible, because the faster you put in the inputs, the faster you get feedback and the faster you get better. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is how to make $100,000 per year as a life insurance agent in 2025. If you guys got value from the video, leave a like, hit the subscribe button. And if you guys want to see how to generate your own high intent leads, right? This was step number 3 that we talked about, finding a lead source. You can click right here and there's going to be a full video breaking down how to generate your own high intent leads in 2025. Catch you guys later.